All right. Yeah, welcome to the podcast, guys. Hard to swallow with Zane Foy. Our guest today is Hayden. I want to talk about biggest thing holding people back from, I guess, being who they need to be.
Yeah.
Or being their ultimate version of themselves. Yeah. I'm going to be super fucking awkward this whole episode because it's been a while. I gotta like get back in the role.
We'll get them warmed up. We'll get them back into it.
I gotta get back into this. What do you think is the biggest thing that holds people back?
I think I was thinking about this before I came here. I think one of the big things for people is there's a fine line between growing and being someone that you're not. And I think a lot of people really want to be somebody that they're not. I think people strive to just do things that they're not actually interested in or whatever it might be, just for the sake of, other people are doing it, rather than, there's room for growth and growing the things that you actually care about, and your interests are welcome to change, but I think too many people try to be something they're not. That holds them back from growing.
It was actually, my mom called me the other day because she read like a article about, I think it was like nowadays with social media and everything, so many people are consumed with like the likes and the follows and the everything has to be documented, and like that is one of the biggest things that is tanking like mental health right now. Is that idea of you have to be this display in a certain way. And I'll admit, like I've been that before, especially like coming back to this now. Like today, try to film my first vlog in fucking years. It's been like 3 or 4 years since I've recorded a vlog, and like I turn the camera and I'm just like blank, like mine's gone. But part of that is like I think the transparency of like forcing myself to keep those kinds of moments in the video to show that like it's human. And I think like Gary Vee always talks about like the world zigs, you zag.
Yeah.
And I think everyone nowadays is so consumed with this image that the people that are going to expand and are going to develop and grow nowadays are the ones that are like not afraid to show that authenticity.
Yeah, I think last time I met with you, we talked about in what ways has perfection held people back from progress.
Yeah.
I remember you said something along the lines of perfection is not progress, progress is perfection. And I think, I grew up a perfectionist, still am a perfectionist in a lot of the things that I do. I could say personally that holds me back from, even starting some things sometimes where it's like, I have friends, for example, who like, I kind of want to start getting into photography. I have friends who are really good at it. Like, it's like, I don't want to start and it's just terrible. And because I know I have this like standard that I want to meet. Yeah. But I think that hinders my growth, hinders me. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people.
I've kind of like, there's like this 80-20 rule, which is like 80% of the work you do doesn't matter and 20% of the work you do is what actually makes a difference. And I've noticed that like I will spend so much time on something that's just like so minuscule, but like I feel like I have to perfect it. So now I'm like, all right, everything is a D-. If I can get like, all right, this would be graded as a D-, then like fuck it, I'm done. All right, all right, Nico, you can come hang out, bro. Come on.
Did all of that, and then you decided you don't want to come in?
Like, honestly, I don't know about this. Come on, bro. There you. Come on. You come in. I'm gonna close it again. Fuck it. No one's home. We'll just keep it open. But yeah, like so. I mean, I would say I think the biggest thing that's holding people back right now is like this fear. I know that has always been the biggest thing holding me back is fear. Like a lot of the things I want to do but don't do is because I'm like genuinely afraid. Like for the longest time, creating these courses and all this stuff like was a built-in fear. Because the first time I tried to like create a course, I did great like within my circle of like followers I already had. But the second I like branched out and like tried to take it, online, I like completely fucking tanked and was like, dude, I can't do this again. But then like years and years go by and I'm like obsessing over it because I want to get it done.
Yeah.
And Like, part of that was, like, doing vlogs in the gym or just vlogging in general. I'm like, I can't do this because I would turn on the camera and I'm like, I'm so fucking awkward and I will die before I turn into this cringe fucking YouTuber that I used to be. I hate that shit. And so many people text me and they're like, where's your old stuff? And I'm like, it's gone.
It's gone.
Deleted. I fucking destroyed it. But like today, I'm like, I'm going to film at the gym and fucking do it. And if people get bothered by it, then they get bothered by it. And it's like a book I'm reading, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. At the end of that book, he says, don't avoid conflict. Conflict is something people need to get good at handling.
Yeah. I read Never Split the Difference it's all about negotiation, right?
Yep.
But it's interesting that you say that because I've known Zane since high school. For those of you who don't know me, we went to high school, played golf together. So I was there in the original Zane era. I was on an OG Zane Foy video a long time ago. But it's interesting that, I mean, you look back on it and it's like, I think that's another thing that we could all probably take note of, right? Is that, like, at the time it was everything that mattered to you, and there's nothing wrong with it, but like we all move, we grow. But, you know, had you never done that, like, you might not have the following you have now, or you might not have some of these people who are invested in what you're doing.
I'm shocked at like the number of people that have continued to follow me throughout all these different phases and stuff that I've done, from, you know, the YouTube to fitness to personal growth, back to music to personal growth again. And yeah.
And I think it's a testament to it's to your point of, like, we want to be perfect. It's like, oh, I'm scared of what people will think. So many people have rode with you regardless of what you've done. It's not so much about what you're doing, and we pay so much attention to what we're doing all the time, or like, what will people think if I do this, or whatever it might be, right? But it's more about, like, you being who you are, and that stayed the same throughout all of it, and that's why people have stuck with you, which is, once again, it's like we all sit here and it's like, oh my God, what if people don't like this? What if people... It's like, who cares? People... I saw a quote the other day. It was something like, so people are going to talk about you anyway, so you might as well do the things that you want to do, rather than, it's like, kind of like, fuck it, do what you want to do, because people are going to talk anyways, so you might as well... Which in reality, they're probably not going to talk at all, but...
That's true. I think, dude, one of the biggest things that, like, mind fucked me growing up was someone was like, 99% of people don't give a fuck about you. And the thing of, like, people that let the insecurities of other people's opinions affect them, it has less to do with the problem of judgment, which is where everyone takes it, and more to do with a problem of ego. Because it's like, you actually think that all of these people care that much about you to go out of their way to cause some, like, fucking scene and whatnot. You know, there's the few people that give a fuck, and, like, I don't know, I've come to realize that, like, if you get haters, like, you're doing something right. If you are not getting haters, you are not trying hard enough.
Yeah, and that's, like you said, it's like 99% of people, like, you go in a crowd, I mean, I think everyone has social anxiety to some extent, where it's like, oh, what are people thinking about me? It's like, most people probably aren't thinking about you at all.
Exactly. Dude, like, let's go, like, to kind of, like, segue that, like, into dating, dude, it is fucked nowadays. People don't understand how to date at all. And they're always like, what do I say? Do I text her? Do I this? Do I that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, she has a fucking life, bro.
Yeah.
She hasn't texted me back in, like, 12 hours. I'm like, A, she has a life. B, you need to get one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the point where, like, when I'm talking to somebody, I'll send, like, 1 or 2 texts a day. And then my third text is, I am busy. I will call you when I'm free. Or if she's texting me, I'll be like, hey, I'm at the gym right now. Can I call you when I get home? And then I'll talk for like 10 minutes because I got shit to do.
Yeah.
I got shit to do. I got a life. And you don't want someone who's there for you, like, hand and foot. That shit's fucking suffocating.
Yeah.
And it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, dude, I wish I'm going to make t-shirts that just say, stop being a bitch. Because that's literally it. Like, dude, somebody asked me on the DMs yesterday. They were like, how do I start, like, eating healthier and eliminate the craving to eat unhealthy food? And I'm like, just don't eat unhealthy food. I'm like, what do you, this is not like some you can't stare at a bunch of flickering lights and listen to someone say, eat tomatoes, and like it's gonna fucking change the way you, like, just stop fucking eating shit. Stop being a bitch and fucking figure it out. Like, you have 7 days. Anytime I try to develop a habit in my life, and that's all life is. Life is literally just habits. You develop habits that develop your life, then you fucking congratulations, you discovered the secret to success. But you got to do it one at a time. So I always pick like a new habit, and I'm like, if I can do this 7 days straight, it's locked the fuck in. And 9 times out of 10 it is. And if I relapse after 7 days, then I'm like, fuck it, this habit doesn't fit in my lifestyle. It's not like, especially when you start developing so many habits that start to accumulate and design a certain type of life. When you get to a point when you start adding in habits, and you get like 7 days in, like, I'm like, this thing either doubled my productivity, improved my mental health, or drowned me and completely drained me from energy. So, yeah, it's like you have 7 days to just suck it up. And if it hurts enough, you'll change.
Yeah.
If it hurts enough, you will change. So many people are like, I don't have the motivation for this, for that, whatever. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, motivation is such a fake word. I don't think motivation is like a real thing. People use the word motivation to depict routine discipline.
Yeah.
It's like, I have the motivation to eat. Well, that's because you're fucking hungry, dude.
Yeah.
Or like, I have the motivation to go to the gym. That's because I've gone like every day for the past 90 days. There's no motivation. I'm not like, motivation to what people think it is excitement.
Yeah.
They're thinking I need excitement to do something. And it's like, no, you're not going to get the motivation. It's a choice to eat shit. Because, like, your brain is neuroplastic. You go through enough shit, you're going to change the way you think. Like, your brain's going to wake up one day and be like, holy fuck, like, I enjoy doing this now. Like, reading Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I'm on the 3rd time listening to the book in the last 5 days. I put it on 1.5 times speed, and I'm like, every single second I get, I'm listening to this book, and I'm grinding it out until I've read it 8 to 10 times because I want it memorized.
Yeah.
There's no motivation to be like, oh, I can't wait to fucking listen to this for the 8th time in a row. You know, but it's discipline. It's the fact that if I don't do that, I am just sick and tired of hurting from not doing the things that need to get done. Like, there's a standard in life, and when I don't meet that standard, it hurts so much that I would do anything in my power to not fuck that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm sure most people listening, or at least have heard of David Goggins. I saw him on a podcast.
Who's gonna carry the boats?
Yeah, that guy. David Goggins, I mean, most people think of him as like probably the most hyper-disciplined, like hyper-motivated person ever.
Yeah.
And he was on a podcast the other day. He's like, you think I want to wake up and do the shit that I do? He's like, absolutely not. He's like, it's like, as much as like you guys all think I'm a psycho, he's like, I know I'm a psycho pretty much. Yeah. He's like, but I don't want to do it. But he's like, but part of it's just discipline.
Right.
Which, I mean, obviously was a Navy SEAL, which is like ultimate discipline. They instill that in you. But part of it's just him as a person. He's like, I don't want to wake up and run 30 miles a day or whatever the hell he does now. But he's like, but I do it because that's just who I am. It's like hardwired into who he is at this point.
Do you know is like there's a greater chance of someone having a 6-pack than being a millionaire? Or no, there's a greater chance of someone being a millionaire than having a 6-pack nowadays. In today's world, there's a higher percentage of millionaires than there are people with 6-packs.
Huh.
That's fucking insane. And like, I always tell people life is like a race. And that's why I preach fitness and like physical health, because physical health is mental health. And so many people go down these avenues of trying to change or fix their mental health, and they don't even have the fucking basis to stay there, and they relapse every time because they haven't built a physical discipline. It's like, you're cracked, dog. Or cat. Anyway, and so it's like so many people are trying to compete in life. It's this race. And 999% of the world or whatever is trying to win this race in a fucking point A to point B beater of a car.
Yeah.
Car barely starts, and it needs to be a nice, 50, 60 degrees outside, perfect condition for their car to start. And they expect to win this fucking race. Like, oh, I want to win at life. And I'm like, you're in a fucking 96 Honda Civic. And it's not even modded.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of shit. Like, what the fuck? You need a Ferrari. You want to try to compete like a Ferrari, you need to be a fucking Ferrari. There's like, I mean, if you think about it, your emotions, they're just fucking chemicals in the brain, dude. Yeah. That's it. It's still physical. Yeah. It's like, I feel like this, I feel like that. Well, it's because you eat like shit. You don't do any exercise. You're lazy as fuck.
Yeah.
My brain, I don't have the motivation. Your body ain't got the motivation either. You're a lazy piece of shit. Like, the fuck are you doing? Like, dude, drink a gallon of water, 30 minutes of sunlight, 30 minutes of exercise. Stop eating shit. You don't even have to eat healthy. Just don't eat shit. And then fucking get some sleep. Get like 7-8 hours of sleep every night. And you're fucking, those are like the 5 baselines. Like water, decent food, exercise, sunlight, sleep. You hit those 5 basics and you feel so much fucking better.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I try to drink. I guess they'll see it because I've been drinking from it, but I bring this Yeti with me everywhere I go. I try to drink 4 of these a day, which is a little over a gallon of water. The days where I drink at least 3 or 4 of these, I feel so much better.
Absolutely.
And that's just drinking water. And then the days I go for even a mile walk, 20 minutes outside, just go outside if it's cold, put a jacket on, wear a hat, and just walk around your neighborhood or wherever, you just feel better. Even if like you don't have, you might have a busy day, like can't get to the gym or whatever. Yeah. Just little habits where you can kind of build yourself, that type of thing, or even like the mental, like if you work your brain. Like my sister has dogs, and a lot of what they say is like you can exhaust like a puppy. She has a puppy. You can exhaust a puppy just as much by making them think, like truly think for 30 minutes as you can for taking them for a walk for like 2 hours. So it's like, sometimes even exercising, like exercise your brain, like Zane said, whether that's reading a book, writing down what you're thinking that day, something like that. If you can't get outside, or you should get outside, but if you can't go to the gym for an hour, then, you have 30 minutes right before bed, like, I don't know, read something, write something, make your brain think, because it'll help you.
Right.
In the same way that exercise can sometimes. Obviously, exercise is important too. But
well, dude, like when people feel sad or like down, I'm like, go work out, like go put yourself through a physical fucking ringer and tell me how sad you feel when you're fucking trying to catch your breath. Like really, like try to feel sad and fucking sweat balls at the same time. Like you can't do it. It's physically like not possible.
Yeah, your body's prioritizing
other
things.
Like you will burn so much stress exercising that even if you want to feel sad and the circumstances haven't changed and whatever, like it's not in it. Like your body's like, we're fucking tired, bro. Feel sad tomorrow. Yeah. Like I'm fucking tired.
And now I'm hungry.
Exactly. Like let's go grub. Yeah. Let's go grub and get shit done. And I mean, it's so. Something I've been trying to focus on a lot lately is like dopamine, right? So like dopamine, the feeling of happy, right? And so much of my life has been I need this thing or that thing to feel happy, like a materialistic happiness, because that was like the level of dopamine I was trying to chase. And I've noticed the happiest in my life had never had anything to do with what I had, but when I was exercising and taking care of my body. And everything else, like all the other aspects of my life would fall into place because of taking care of my health. And so it was like everyone has the same capacity to express or release dopamine, right? I call this like dopamine theory. But if you can train your brain well enough and learn to control your dopamine, this podcast makes me just as happy as like a fucking Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Because it's just a level. I mean, you got shiny car syndrome. You get a Lamborghini, and then
what's the next thing?
Exactly. Yeah. And then you're like, fuck, now I got to get something else. And so people don't understand that dopamine is a like it normalizes to your life. So it baselines to your life. So the more you succeed and the better life gets, dopamine baselines because it's a survival mechanism. You can't get too comfortable or you start fucking up, or like your brain 10,000 years from now, whatever the fuck. Like you get too comfortable, you get eaten by a fucking saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like there's a survival instinct that's ingrained in your brain to normalize dopamine. Now, how do we reset that? Through stress and fatigue. When you hit these super low lows in life, then something high feels extra high because you were so far low.
Yeah.
But the same stress you're releasing in shitty parts of life is the same stress you're releasing when you fucking exercise or get into fitness and do that. So you can control that dopamine reset. And that's why people are like, I feel so much better after an exercise, blah, blah, blah. It's because their brain chemically produces more dopamine because of smaller things.
Yeah.
There's nothing mystical or magic about it. It's not even a mindset shift. It's literal fucking chemistry.
Yeah.
Like you exercise, you reset your dopamine. Your dopamine's now on a lower baseline than before, normalizing off of the stress you induced it, regardless of normalizing on the circumstances you live in. And now the circumstances you live in almost feel brand new every single day because you keep resetting that level of dopamine.
Yeah, it takes less and less. It's not about like, oh, I bought a new pair of pants today. That made me happy. It's more like, you know, I didn't even spend money today. All I did was go and get a lift in for 30 minutes, and now that's enough to make me feel better rather than like I have to have a big thing happen. Or and I think one thing I've noticed is like I feel like you get, like you said, there's times in your life it's like where you're really low and everything feels bad, and there's times where you're really high. I don't know. I've always found that it seems like when it rains, it pours. Like you said, like the days that are really bad, it's like everything goes wrong, right? Like you're not disciplined in drinking your water. You don't go outside. You don't exercise. Like all that stuff, like everything leaves. And that's goes back to Zane's point of like when you can establish discipline and say like, look, today has sucked. Like my girlfriend broke up with me, whatever it might have been, whatever happened, someone ran over my dog, whatever, like that's dark. Like that, obviously you're allowed to feel emotions, but like, it's like, what's going to get you out of bed the next day? Like,
I'd be John Wick.
Whatever. I mean, not to be too morbid that way, but just like, stuff happens. Life is going to happen. There are going to be low lows, but like, how do you pick yourself up out of it is kind of, I think, what Zane's getting to. Of like, when you establish discipline, like everything seems to fall into place, right? Like, I think people can feed and they can sense when things are going well for you. And like, I don't know, I can speak personally, like in my dating life or anything in the past, it's like, when I don't feel like I'm taking care of myself and like everything's going wrong, I promise you're not going to have very many people interested in like talking to you, right? When things are like, when you're on cloud 9, everything's falling into place, like, it's like you're getting a promotion at work, you're exercising, you're going out, you're drinking your water. People can sense that, and like all of a sudden you'll be amazed, back to Zane's point of dating, like how many people are interested in being around you because they're just attracted to your energy. It's like, why is he in such a good mood all the time?
When it rains, it pours both ways.
Yeah.
Literally. Imagine you're this absolute fucking supermodel. Look yourself in the mirror and be like, would I fuck myself?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, you got some work to do, my friend. Like, what do you mean? And, oh, my God, I'm about to rant. I'm about to go in on some motherfuckers. Fuck the nice guy syndrome. Stop being a fucking Nigel. It's creepy as shit. It's weird as fuck. Oh, but I'm a fucking nice guy. I'm a nice guy, too, bro. I'm a nice guy, too. But, like, what the fuck are you offering somebody? Like, what do you mean? You don't have to be, like... Congratulations, you're baseline not a dick. And in fact, you might be so nice. It's creepy as fuck. It's weird. It's women don't want to date someone who's fucking kissing their toes all the time. Oh, my fucking princess, what can I do for you today? How can I treat you today? Like, fuck no, that's not going to make me feel safe. What do you mean? Like, if I'm fucking held at gunpoint, I don't want you to look over and be like, oh, my love, how can I save you? Like, shut the fuck up and do something. What do you mean? What do you fucking mean? Oh, my God, dude. Fucking.
So I guess most people know this. I'm a salesperson for a tech company, and my director this last year, his name is Mike, and he always preached on equal business stature. And it's one thing where I think, obviously, it works in sales, right? The concept is like, I'm not going to kiss someone's ass so they buy from me, right? Like, I'm not going to go to the person and be like, oh, like, please, 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 like, we'll bend over backwards, we'll give you a deal, we'll give you a discount, like, I'll throw in this other stuff for free just so you'll buy from me. It's the idea that, like, look, at the end of the day, I'm an adult, you're an adult, I gain something from this, and you're going to gain something from this. And obviously sales is about presenting value and like where can you put the value, and that's my job as a salesperson, is to show that value. But once that's done, I'm not going to bend over backwards for someone to close a deal with me. It's like my job has been done. I've presented you the value. Like, I'm not going to keep doing stuff for you just because, and then you're probably going to go, buy from someone else.
Yeah.
Dating is no different.
It's the exact same thing.
It's equal business stature. It's like you should be gaining as much as you're putting into it.
Right.
I mean, like, there's obviously times and like sacrifice is important, but to Zane's point, like, you should not always feel like it's like, oh my God, this is completely draining me to constantly like be serving someone, whatever. Like, it's like, well, then how are you being served? Because it's equally important that you're.
There's a sequence of being single, which is what value can I offer somebody else? And then you work on that, and you work on that, and you work on that, and then you get to a point where when you're ready to get back into dating, it now becomes, what value are they going to offer me?
Yeah.
And it seems fucked up, but like, that's how it is. That's literally, so many guys are doing everything they can to get every possible match from every possible girl. And like, from my experience of being a certified fucking hoe, I'm not proud of it. Don't do it. There's nothing to benefit. If you do it, do it for like a month. Do it for a month and call it. But that side note, that fucked my life up more than anything else. Because one, I was going out way too much, drinking way too much, becoming the animal that like my age group was attracted to. And you come to realize that like you're fishing in a fucking swamp.
Yeah.
You're fishing in a swamp. And you could get 100 matches. Out of the 100 matches, maybe 10 will message you. Out of the 10 that message you, you maybe get like one date. And then you got a 10% chance that date is actually fucking
enjoyable.
Potential. Yeah.
Potential.
Like, you set your standards so fucking high that you have to understand finding someone that's good for you is rare as fuck. You don't go out searching for it. You surround yourself in the type of environment that you will find that person in.
Yeah.
I don't do the online dating and all that shit anymore. You can, but it's like you have to be willing to accept the fact that you're going to be on date after date after date after date, and you're going to hit or miss 90% of the time.
Yeah. It goes back to when it rains, it pours. Like, once again, speaking from my own personal experience, it's like when you're really down, it's like, oh, I just want someone here for me. So it's like when you're really actively trying to like go out and find a date, I promise it's going to be way worse. And it's like like we said earlier, it's like when you're taking care of your shit on your own, people will come to you. Like, all of a sudden it's like, what the hell? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've experienced that personally, where it's like there's times where it's like the times where I'm not worried about finding someone, where I'm just like focused on myself, focused on being good for myself. It's like that's when people come out of the woodwork. All of a sudden you're like, where the hell have you been for God knows how long?
It's the same thing as like when you're in a relationship, all of a sudden all these girls start paying attention to you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not with somebody, no one's looking at you, but then you walk into a room with a girl and everyone's like, what the fuck does he have? It's that whole thing, because every girl has this innate instinct to test. And when you are with somebody, you've immediately passed everyone's test in that room. Yeah. He is with someone. He has something that she wants. What the fuck is it? Yeah. And when you can learn to establish that type of vibe when you're single, it's like you say, people just come to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's effortless.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot to do, and that could be a whole other podcast episode on like building your confidence and that sort of thing. But like we said earlier, people don't care. Like, if you go out to a bar, like quit thinking everyone's looking at you. But
all right, sorry, the camera only records for like 30 minutes. I didn't know that, but
minor technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're learning. It's a learning experience for everybody. No, there was a study by James Blumenthal. He was a neuroscientist at Duke University, and he
Yeah.
specialized in depression. And he did a study with 3 groups of people. One was a group that exercised, one took antidepressants, and one did both. And I think it was like after 16 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Out of the group that took antidepressants, like 38% of them relapsed back into depression. Out of the group that did both, it was like 35% relapsed back into depression. And out of the group that only exercised, like 8% of them relapsed. And there was another study about happiness and where happiness stems from. And scientists discovered that 50% of your happiness comes from genetic temperament and disposition. So your genetic mental well-being of what can you tolerate and not tolerate.
Yeah.
And this was, I think, one of the biggest points of like, dude, what do you do? You want to be involved so bad. God. Don't electrocute yourself back there, please. But no, there was I'm gonna have to throw him outside. You hold this?
Yeah.
All right, Nico. All right, bro. You gotta leave. You can't roll under the couch. Dude, what are you doing?
We're experiencing some serious feline difficulties also, in addition to the technical difficulties.
Cat dad. Hi, Bubby. Hi. Oh my God. Holy shit, he's cracked.
He had extra catnip today or something.
You can't. The thing is, you can't punish a cat. They don't get it. They don't respond the way dogs do. Look at this guy, bro.
Yeah, he got you pretty good.
See? I need to cut his nails. Holy shit. But there was a point in life where I was like cycling through different ventures and stuff like that, and I'd be in and out because I'd burn myself out of the passion or whatever it is. And it got to a point where I was like, dude, the only way I'm actually going to take this somewhere is if I can handle the stress.
Yeah.
And so I had like 3 things I could do. One was eliminate something to give me more time, whether that was more time for the passion or more time to reset and get away from it. And then I needed a way to organize it because there's so many thoughts going on in my mind all the time that like I needed a way to be able to think something, jot it down, and drop it. Like just delete it from my brain. I can come back and check it later. And there's an app called Notion. And now I use Notion to like block out everything I do, from like my schedule, what I need to do with the course, plans, projects, fucking grocery lists, chores, everything I throw in that app. And the last thing I need to do is I need to speed up. Or how can I get to this level of speed that I need to have to improve my life, but maintain that level of speed without the burnout. And so it wasn't like, the problem was you grind so, like I said, you're in a car that can barely go from point A to point B. You're using everything you fucking can. You're blasting every single RPM to just try to hit 60.
Yeah.
But you're in a Ferrari, you're hitting 60 with like you barely touch the gas pedal. So I was like, I need to be able to hit this speed more efficiently.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that was organizing and developing a schedule and like a system that allowed me to kind of control all these different aspects and, you know, granularize, if that's a word, my life. But yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Just like, I feel like I'm doing just as much as I used to do back in the day, but it's so much easier for me now because of all these different blocks I've put on time and the efficiency I've created by organizing everything.
Yeah, I think I'm not super expert on that, but I know there's a lot of studies that go into like, especially with timing and stuff, like even sleep. Like if you block out your sleep, like that's why, as much as like, I was going to comment on like part of being present is freaking putting this thing down, put down your phone sometimes.
Oh my God, yeah.
But like one thing phones have done well is like you can set off blocks where your phone will basically just like go on do not disturb. I've heard a lot of studies say that like if you get in bed and you're like, man, I'm tired, rather than like, oh, I get in bed, I'm going to watch YouTube for the next hour and a half, which I'm definitely guilty of. I do it all the time. But like the days where I get in bed, I'm like, wow, I'm really tired. I need to sleep.
Yeah.
I fall asleep so much faster just in terms of like, it's like by telling yourself like, this is when I'm going to do this. I'm going to sleep and I'm going to get 8 hours or whatever. It's like you can do that, which is the same thing like you're saying where it's like, here's my hour a day where I'm going to the grocery store because I already set aside the time. There's nothing else going on but grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Whereas like you can easily fall into the pitfall of like, oh, I have so much to do right now. I need to clean my room and I need to go grocery shopping and I need to go work out and I need to do all this other. It's like, but if you have a block where it's like, this is the time that I go grocery shopping. It's Wednesdays at 6 o'clock.
And
whatever.
being able to tell people to like fuck off.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Sorry, I literally can't.
Yeah. And you could build in, I mean, if you want to get super granular, you could build in like Friday nights and Saturday nights from 8 p.m. to midnight, I'm going to socialize with my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't think you have to. You don't have to get that granular. But, like, when you feel overwhelmed, I know, like, I work in a Google Calendar all the time for work. Like, knowing that I have these blocks set aside where it's like, I'm going to do this in this block, and I'll mark stuff on my calendar where other people can't book on my calendar at that time because, like, it's like I'm going to update all the notes in Salesforce for all my opportunities or whatever it might be. It's like I'm going to set aside 2.5 hours. Do not bother me. You can't book on my calendar because I'm going to be doing this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no different than making an appointment to get a haircut, right? Like, you're not going to go do other stuff because it's like someone else's time rides on it. You should value your own time in the same way that, like, you value booking a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment. It's like, oh, I can't miss that because it's someone else's time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Food for thought.
I think a lot of people, there's a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't dive deep enough into their problems. So, like, the sleep schedule was by far the number one thing holding me back. Like, I can't tell you how many Sundays I would wake up at, like, 3 in the afternoon, and I was just like, fuck it, don't care. And it was like, at first, I was like, I just can't wake up early enough. That's what I thought it was. Like, that first, what's the one thing I can do? I could wake up faster. I'm like, why am I not waking up? Okay, because I fucking watch YouTube until, like, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Why am I watching YouTube till 3 a.m.? Because I'm bored and feel unaccomplished because I didn't do anything else that day.
Yeah.
Well, why am I fucking bored and unaccomplished? Because I'm lazy from 6 p.m. or from like 5 when I get home from work to like 6 p.m. I don't like fucking do anything. And it was like, okay, well, how do I get out of that laziness? How do I solve that? And it was like the second I get home, I give myself like 10 minutes to take my fucking shit of solitude, change my clothes, and go straight to the gym. Because once I'm out of the gym, my heart rate's up, everything's going. Like, once I've hit my workout, I'm fucking locked in, right? I come home and I work. And so that was like my one thing. Was creating a rule of discipline that when I got home from work, I had 10 minutes to leave the fucking house. If I could hit that one thing, I fixed my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
So, like, you roll it all the way back until you find the last fucking domino that's causing this chain reaction of, like, shit that's going on.
Yeah, and it's I think it's like, to Zane's point, right? It's like, oh my God, I sleep 12 hours every Sunday or Saturday night. It's like, what's going on? How do I fix this? It's like, well, I should probably go to bed a little earlier. Well, how do I go to bed earlier? It's like, and I talked about Zane with his workout program. We're kind of brainstorming a couple weeks ago where it's like, where can you control, like, what amount of control in your life does everyone think is manageable? For Zane, it's 10-15 minutes when he gets home. It's like, if I can get home, take a shit, change, and get out the door in 15 minutes, like, I just set myself up for success.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like, anyone can control 15 minutes of their day. Like,
don't be a bitch.
Yeah, literally anyone. Like, even if it's like, everything in my life is spiraling out of control. Can you hang on for 15 minutes? Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Can you knuckle up for 15 minutes and like get something done for 15 minutes?
People don't understand how fucking small their problems actually are. They only have big problems because they're missing something so fucking small that would change everything.
can I go to the gym for 30 minutes? If I asked you to go to the gym for 30 minutes instead of sitting on this watching YouTube, watch one less video and go to the gym for 30 minutes, people would be like, oh, but I like sitting at home. It's like, can you honestly, control 30 minutes of your day?
Straight up, how many videos are you actively watching? Most of the time I turn on YouTube, I'm listening to the video. I can do that at the gym.
Yeah, podcast.
Yeah.
Throw it in your ears at the gym.
Yep.
I don't know. There's lots of... Yeah, I just think it comes down to, like, what can you control, what you can control the controllables, which is kind of a sports concept, but, like, there's a lot that's going to be out of your control, right? Like I said, if you crashed your car, someone T-bones you, you can't control that, whatever. Yeah, but, like, there are things in your life that inevitably you can control. You can control the 15 minutes when I get home from work before I go do this or whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was a coach I had in middle school, football coach, and we never did anything that was major. He was like, the big things don't matter. You lock down the little things, everything else fall into place. And so we always trained the smallest fucking aspects of football, like the tiniest granular details that you would think don't matter at all. And we went undefeated. Yeah, I think like 3 years in a row we went undefeated. And the same thing applies to life. The big shit doesn't matter. The big shit's exciting, which is what makes people think it matters. Oh, if I could do this massive fucking thing, I'd change my life. And it's like, you can do that massive thing, but there's blocks to that. You're trying to build a skyscraper and you haven't actually contemplated what it takes to set a foundation. Yeah. You're not even on level ground yet. Like, chill the fuck out.
You're not building a skyscraper on dirt that's 6 feet higher in one section.
Yeah, exactly. There's there's two types of people in the world. There's people that are afraid of taking the necessary steps to change their life, and then there are people that are afraid of who they're gonna be if they don't. That's it. You have two types of, like, I was fucking petrified to film myself in the gym because I needed to get this vlog done, but I'm more afraid of looking myself in the mirror week after week, year after year, saying I still haven't fucking done it yet. That scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I left something on the table. And that's what will eat at you, I think, long term. Or, I mean, back to the dating thing, right? Of, like, it's like, oh, God, if I just had a hot girlfriend, my life would be so much better. Like, it's like, no, it wouldn't. First of all, no, it wouldn't. It's like, how are you going to do that?
And put yourself in her shoes. How sad is that? Yeah. He's only decent because he's with me. Like, are you fucking, like, that's what you want to offer somebody?
Yeah, it's like, God, I just really want a girlfriend, so I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. It's like, if that's all that you got going for you, man, like, I'm sorry.
Well, there's the idea of, like, we balance each other out. I fucking hate that. I hate, like, there's certain people that balance each other out. And then there's certain people that use the we balance each other out as an excuse to a shitty relationship. We balance each other out because I'm too much of a fucking bitch to work on this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what? What are you fucking talking about? And you gotta understand, if there's shit you want to do and people don't agree with you, you have to do it. Because if you don't, you risk hating that person for the rest of your life. Because you will spend your entire life saying, I didn't do that because they didn't want me to. Like, parents want you to go to college. You don't want to go to college. If you go to college, you're going to have that cloud hanging over you for the rest of your life that is going to give your parents a hate they do not deserve. Yeah. You have to be tough enough to tell people no. Like, I thank you for your input, but this is what I'm doing. Yeah. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, then I'll fucking try what you had in mind. But you have to jump on that.
I have a reputation with my friends, my roommates specifically, and especially their friends. They all think I'm an asshole. Well, not my roommates, but their friends think I'm an asshole because I'm notorious for saying no to them. Which, it's like, at the end of the day, like, I would rather. It's like, you might get your feelings hurt for 30 seconds because they're like, hey, do you want to go do this? And I'm like, no, I don't want to go do that. Yeah. But it's like, at the end of the day, would you rather me do that or me go, be miserable, not be fun to be around, or keep making excuses why I, quote, can't do something. Exactly. And then you're going to keep fixing the problem and be like, oh, well, you can't go because you're making dinner. Well, how about we go after you make dinner? Well, after I make dinner, I have this to do. And it's like, now you're just making excuses when I could have just said, no, I don't want to do that. Right. And it might be like, wow, you're kind of an asshole for not wanting to do that. It's like, no, I'm not. It's like, I just don't want to.
It's like, I'm not an asshole. You're just too dense to understand. I'm trying to do us both a favor right now.
Yeah. Just saying no is like such a valuable skill in life. I tell people this all the time. It's like, learn to say no when people are trying to take time, like at work. If people are like, I need you to help me with this, just be like, I don't have time for that. No.
I would say every single moment in my work life where I like took another step up, whether it was like in my reputation or the way they perceived me, was when I stood up for myself.
Yeah.
I was never like, there was never a major moment where it was like, oh, we like Zane because he, is always saying yes to everything. And there's a certain extent to that. But the part that makes the biggest difference was he knows when to tell us no for the better. It's a level of trust. It's this, and like it's the same thing, dude. Dating is the exact. If you learn how to date, everything else kind of falls into place in life because it's all the same principle. Yeah. Like I would trust somebody more that can tell me no than somebody that will just tell me what I want to hear all the time.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, you actually don't, there's no fucking brain cell going into the actual problem. You're just saying that. It's the same thing in dating. A girl will trust you more when you can tell her no than, oh, yeah, of course, all the fucking time.
Yeah. I mean, that's completely true. And I think like the people who can't say no to each other, those are the relationships you see like I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, a year and a half in. They finally have this argument because they finally disagree on something.
And it was like this massive
nuclear bomb goes off in their relationship, and it's like, well, you guys have never argued and you've never said no to each other. So all of a sudden, it's like when there's actually something that's like, we are diametrically opposed on this. It's like, well, if you can't say no to people on little things, it's like, do you want pizza tonight? No, I don't want pizza tonight. Like, I want this. It's like, if you can't say that, like, it's just going to snowball to where... And there's, like I said, there's sacrifice. It's like, sometimes it's like you guys are both going to want different things. And something as small as pizza or a hamburger, like, you can go get pizza with your girlfriend if she wants it. Like, it's whatever. But, like, if you can't say no to little things, or like, do you want to go out and do this tonight? Right. No, I don't. You have
that one moment of opposition and the whole fucking world explodes. And then you realize who you're actually with.
Yeah.
And it's like, you should have learned this a long time ago.
Yeah, I think people just need to be better about... Once again, I always say be present. Like, be present in your relationships, whether it's friends, family, whatever, like girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever's going on. But, like, be present with those people, too, where it's like when you're around them, like, if you have any level of empathy, you can tell when something's wrong. Like, ask what's wrong. Ask what I did to upset somebody. Like,
yeah. And you keep digging, too. You don't just be like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
You go, oh, okay, well, she told me it's fine, so it must be fine. Like, no, motherfucker, it's not fine.
That's like a trap. All the men listening
your
to
fault.
This.
You can't open her up enough to fucking talk to you. Like, you got to work on that, bro. You keep a playful attitude. Fucking and be like, all right, well, if you don't tell me what's wrong, like, I'm going to tickle you till you pass out. Like, it's like those playful threats.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm your friend, I'm your teammate, but at the end of the day, we're going to figure this out whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and I mean, that's part of, like, if you settle with, I mean, Zane can attest to this. One of my New Year's resolutions is just getting people to dig deeper in general conversation, right? Where it's like, when you ask them, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I hate that. It drives me nuts. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't like it. I don't want it. Like, I don't want to have those conversations. So it's like, I will sit here and I will pry people open.
Yeah.
No matter if it takes me 20 minutes, it takes me 30 seconds, if it takes me 2 hours. Like, I'm going to sit here until you give me a damn answer, like a real answer. Like, let's have a real conversation. I think people need to treat that way, because it's like when we stick surface level, when you're living on this and people's Instagrams, it's like everything is made to look a certain way. People don't want to be down, and they don't want to come across as too high either, right? Like, it's like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. How often you get I'm good, where it's like, they could be great. They could be having the best day of their life. I'm good. They could be having the worst day of their life. I'm good. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, you just have to be able to get people to open up relationship wise.
And also, like, stop following people that don't have any positive impact on your life.
Yeah.
Like, if you're following people just to digest information that means nothing to you or does nothing for you, that is a waste of fucking time.
Yeah.
A waste of time. Like, whenever I get into those moments where I'm like, fuck, I got to change something, first thing I do is clean out my Instagram. Clean out my Instagram, clean out my Twitter, clean out my Facebook, delete Facebook. Like, get the fuck off.
Yeah.
Get off. Because it's like, why do you care? You're spending so much time on somebody else's life because you have nothing going on in your own that's worth the attention. And you have nothing going on in your own because you're spending so much time on other people's life.
Yeah.
Stop it. Quit it. Bad.
Unplug. I think there's a lot of value in unplugging. And that would honestly be like, back to I guess we're probably coming up on about an hour, so we should probably get wrapped up here fairly quick. But like, to the big thing, like, what's one thing that's holding people back? I think people's inability to be present would probably be my real answer, where it's like, I see so many people. I mean, if I go on a date with a girl and she's on this thing the whole time, the odds of me taking you out again, low.
Yeah, I'll just end it.
Yeah, it's like, if you don't care, like, or if I'm hanging out with friends and they're on their phone the whole time, it's like, I'm not going to hang out with them again for a long time, because it's like, obviously they don't care. Like, I think
they're just here to please me, and I don't need to be pleased.
Yeah, it's like, just being in your presence, like, if you're just going to be sitting on your phone, like, I don't care. Like, at that point, I could just go sit on my phone at home. I don't need someone else to do this. So I think for me, my biggest piece of advice for, like, I think the more you're present, you know, aware of what's going on in your own life, aware of what's going on around you, aware of what makes you feel the way that you do, like Zane said, where it's like, oh, why do I feel like shit today? Oh, I didn't go exercise. Like, if you can be present with yourself, I think everything else kind of falls into place, and you'll be more present around other people. Put the phone down, bring a notebook with you, or if you're going to take notes.
When you brought that notebook, I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be a conversation.
Yeah. It's with me right now. I guess they can't see it, but it's sitting. I bring it with me everywhere. It's like, I use my phone for notes. Most of the time when I'm talking to people, like, I'll type stuff down in my notes app, but like, I'm not going to be sitting here scrolling through Instagram. So
right.
I think,
I would agree with that. I think self-awareness is the biggest fact, like, because everything stems off of that. Like, I could say the biggest thing holding people back is the physical health.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a level of self-awareness to realize that.
And if you just keep saturating your brain with bullshit all the time, you'll never take a second to be aware of what's going on with yourself, with people around you. Like,
and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, so many people are afraid to change because they think a different type of lifestyle isn't going to offer them the type of happiness they're getting from the one they currently have. And that's where I'm like, your brain will learn to change. It's like any addiction in life. There's the 7 days of pure fucking hell, and then you get to day 8, and you're like, oh, this shit's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then your brain learns, oh, this is fucking great. Like, right now, like, just this podcast, I have the motivation to go outside and go for a jog. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I fucking hate running, but all of a sudden, my brain's like, dude, we're all about this personal development. Fuck it, I'm gonna go running. I'll run for 2 minutes and die and probably collapse a lung, but like, that's right now, that seems like a fucking fun thing to do. Yeah
I think that pretty much wraps up most of what I had to say, but I guess my one word is just be present, everyone. That's the more you're present and aware of yourself and aware of your surroundings, everything will get better and fall into place.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Dope. W podcast. W episode 1. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. If you guys have any topics, questions, anything at all, throw your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't overthink it. You got shit that's rolling in your head right now, drop that shit in the comments. Yeah, thank you for coming to episode 1 of Hard to Swallow with Zane Foy. This is Hayden. Everyone say thank you for Hayden for being on the podcast. And
maybe I'll be on another time somewhere down the road. But
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Y'all stop being a bitch. Have a great one. God bless. Deuces.